things. Ian from RTO here. Welcome to another day of great stuff. Today is more of a tribute day, and we have got a birthday today as well. So we've got two tribute things and a birthday. So first up, an album ranking of Bachman Turner Overdrive. It is a request as well, but because we have lost two members of this band this year, firstly being in January we lost Robbie Backman, and then in April we lost his brother Tim. So I thought I would this was in the done list, and we decided, well, Dave and myself decided, we'll put this out as a little bit of a tribute to the Bachman brothers. So Bachman Turner Overdrive, or often abbreviated to BTO, Canadian rock band from Winnipeg, founded by Randy Bachman, Robbie Bachman and Tim Bachman and Fred Turner. Very successful band. 5 top 40 albums, 6 US top 40 singles, 11 in Canada. BTO has had 5 certified gold albums, 1 platinum in the US, platinum in Canada, and they have sold nearly 30 million albums worldwide. Really big fan of this band. They've never really put out a bad album. Some of the later ones are not as good as the classics, but they're just still good. There's always something on their albums you can go, yeah, this is good. So they've released 9 albums. A couple of them were done as BTO, because of when people left, and this will have to change the name a little bit. But they're all, on the whole, they're pretty good. So coming in at number 9, we have the 9th album, released in 1984, and it's called Bachman Turner Overdrive, or by BTO. And it's the only album that hasn't got Robbie Bachman on it. So the band at the time is Randy Bachman on guitar, Tim Bachman on guitar and backing vocals. Randy Bachman did the vocals on this. C.F. Turner, known to many as Fred, on the bass as ever. Gary Peterson on the drums. We've got Will McColder on piano and Denise McCann on backing vocals. So the first track on here is For the Weekend. It's not a bad track. Okay, it's got that 80s sounding drums, but you can't have everything perfect in 1984. But the riffs are good, and you know it's BTO. It's a solid track, even though the drums are a little bit. Just Look at Me Now. Again, it's the drums that sort of let it down, that 80s drum sound, but the riffs are great. The bass line from Fred is brilliant. A pretty good track. Then we get my favourite track on this one. It's called My Sugary. Vocals are brilliant. It's just solid. Even the drums sound right on this. It's a solid track. City Still Growing. Solid track written by Fred Turner. Great track. Nothing wrong with this one. I like that one. Another full, maybe full of 80s production, but it's still half decent track for me, that one. Lost in Fantasy. It's okay. It is a little bit too 80s, but it's got a pretty damn good guitar solo from Randy, so that makes up for it. Toledo, it's okay. It's just 80s rock. Service with a Smile, good old fashioned BTO rocker. Solid track. Just because this is at the bottom doesn't mean it's a bad album, because it isn't. It's got a lot of that 80s production, but the songs are solid, and I enjoy listening to that one. So I'm going to give that one an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. Okay, then coming in at number 8, we jump to 1977 and the 6th album, Freeways. It was the last album that Randy would be part of until for 7 years, which was the album we've just looked at. So on here we've got Randy Backman on acoustic and electric guitars and string, bass and vocals, Blair Thornton on guitars, C.F. Turner on the bass as ever, and Robbie Bachman on the drums. First track on this one is called Can We All Come Together. It's a little bit funky for me. It's more funk than rock. It's okay. Life Still Goes On, I'm Lonely. Great song. Fred sings this. It's pretty good. He's a good singer and I like that track. Shotgun Rider. Some nice guitar riffs at the beginning. You've got Blair and Randy sharing the guitar work very well on that. It's a good solid track. So then we get Just For You. Some great drumming by Robbie on this, and the guitar low's pretty good as well. My Wheels Won't Turn. This is actually one of my favourite tracks by BTO. Okay, it's a little bit cheesy in places, but it's just got such a great groove. Then we get Down Down, a bright track. It's that typical mid-70s American rock. That's solid. Easy groove. Never been a fan of this one. I just don't know. And then the title track, Freeways, ends the album. Sung by Fred. Really good track. Fred's got a really good voice for that. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, solid album from BTO. Fred sings a couple of songs on here. Like this album quite a lot. So I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 7.3. Okay, then coming in at number 7. 1979's Rock and Roll Night, as I said, the 8th album, and this was one of 3 albums by BTO that did not feature co-founder Randy Backman, and this is one of the albums that features Jim Clench, who was formerly with April Wine. So the band at the time was, it goes in the books as C.F. Turner on rhythm and lead and backing vocals, Blair Thornton on lead guitar, Jim Clench on the bass and lead and backing vocals, Robbie Bachman on the drums, and we've got Jim Balance doing all the keyboard work. First track on here is Jamaica. Great opening track. You've got some great keyboard on this, and the lead vocals were done by Jim Clench, and he's a good singer, and it's a solid track. Then we get Heartaches. Good little rocker this is. A great vocal from Fred. Absolutely top draw stuff. Good rocker. Heaven Tonight. This is sung by Jim Clench. It's my favourite track. It's crank that guitar solo. Great vocal. That's absolutely brilliant track. Ooh, got a creaky chair. It's time to get the WD-40 out. Then we get Rock and Roll Nights, another good song. I think Jim's vocals are pretty good on this. There's some nice guitar textures on this. Nice bass from Jim as well. Solid track. Wasting Time. Now this was written by Bryan Adams, fellow countryman. You can tell it's got a Bryan Adams feel to it. It's got lots, the words, very Bryan Adams, and it's a good little rocker as well. Here She Comes Again. A good vocal from Fred here. Good rock, quite quirky, foot stomping stuff, really good. End of the Line. Reminds me of the start of one of the sort of Rod Stewart start. It's very, very good. Then we get Rock and Roll Hell. What's great about this, these little rockers, Fred singing, great track. Then we have a song called Amelia Earnhardt, a tribute to the flying hero Amelia Earnhardt. Very good song. Pretty solid album again, some good rockers on this. Again, I can't dislike anything really. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 7.5. Okay then, coming in at number 6 is the 7th album called Street Action, and it is actually credited to BTO and not Bachman Turner Overdrive. It's part of the agreement, Randy Bachman agreement, that they wouldn't use the Bachman name, and because he was going to use it for a pending solo album, so they sold the rights to BTO, trademarks, and just called it BTO, which is not a bad compromise. You know, they were adult about it. So in the band at the time was Robbie Bachman on drums, Jim Clench on the bass again, Blair Thornton on lead guitar, C.F. Turner, our Fred, on guitar and vocals, and additional people, John Hall on piano on I'm in Love, and Tom Keenslide on saxophone on Madison Avenue. I'm in Love is the first one. Great vocal from Fred. The drumming on this from Robbie is pretty good. It's got that glam rock feel to it. It's a good track. Down the Road, great rocker this one. Good vocal from Jim Clench. The riffs are really good on this. I really like this track. Takes a Lot of People. Good guitar solo in this. Driving riffs. Great bass line here from Jim. Solid track. A Long Time for a Little While. It's got this Latino rhythm to it. A lot of wah wah on this. Great bass line and a good vocal from Jim. Street Action, title track. Fred singing this. It's got that distinctive BTO cowbell in there. Love this track. For Love. There's just something about these tracks. They are so catchy. From the minute they come on, you're tapping your feet, doing that. It's just a great track. Madison Avenue is a classic. Somber, gentle, really good though. You're Gonna Miss Me, a ripping bass line from Jim Clench. Just a solid track. The World Is Waiting for a Love Song, a real bluesy sort of riff. Excellent track. Like that one. Yet another good album. It's got some great tracks on here. It's got some of my favourite tracks by the band. Just because it says there BTO and not Bachman Turner Overdrive, it's still the same sound, same band. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.6. Okay then, coming in at number 5, we got the debut, the self-titled Bachman Turner Overdrive from 1973. So it is Randy Bachman on lead guitar, backing vocals, and Tim Bachman on the rhythm, C.F. Turner Fred on bass and lead vocals, Robbie Bachman on the drums. We've got Barry King on congas and Will McColder on the piano, and Gary Peterson doing a little bit of drums as well and backing vocals. First track on here, it's a great track. Gimme Your Money Please. Great vocal from Fred, he sings this. Robbie's drumming on this is fantastic. Hold Back the Water. There's a real sort of country rock feel to it. It's catchy, quirky riff, good song. Blue Collar comes next. Again, it's just great tracks. Robbie's drumming on here is fantastic. Randy's guitar solo. Throw a decent bass line from Fred. It's a great song. Little Gandhi Dancer. I just love love the start of this when you get them little loops and strokes on the guitar. Great little rocker as well. Stayed Awake All Night. Love this track. Absolutely brilliant. It's got a great guitar solo. Thumping drums. One of the great BTO tracks. Down and Out Man. Not my favourite track, but it's just okay. Don't Get Yourself Into Trouble. Again, we got that distinctive cowbell from Robbie Turner. I just love the cowbell on the BTO out tracks. Great track. And then the last track is called Thank You For The Feeling. It's a great bass line from Fred. Really dominates the track. And then you get these solid riffs. BTO hit the ground running with this one. It's a great debut album, some great rockers. Some of them, again, it's got some really of my favourite tracks on here, and I'll play this a lot. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. Okay, number 4. We're really moving into classic Bachman Turner Overdrive now. And the 5th album from 1975, Head On. This hasn't got Tim on it, but it's got Randy Bachman, Blair Thornton, C.F. Turner, Robbie Bachman, and guest piano on 2 songs, Little Richard no less, and Barry Keane on the congas. First track on this one, Find Out About Love. Classic start. Randy's great riffs. Got a little bit of bongos here from Barry Keane. Really good track to start the album off. It's Over. Typical Bachman Turner Overdrive start. Thumping drums. Great riffs. Foot tapping stuff. Then we get Average Man. Pretty solid. It's not my favourite track on the album, but it's a solid track. Watch You Take Me For A While. My favourite track on here. The solo on this is just terrific from Randy. I just love how it flows from a gentle into driving riffs with such ease. Brilliant track. Wild Spirit comes out. So consistent, this band. Fine example of their rock tracks. How can you not like this band? It's just a great track. Take It Like a Man. Robbie's drumming is brilliant, and he got some great piano here by the legendary Little Richard. Fantastic. Looking Out for Number One. I love this track. It's my second favourite track on here. They got some congos, and the drumming from Robbie is lovely how they mix together. It's got this very Santana feel about it. Some great guitar work, solid track. Away From Home. This has got some of Randy's best guitar work on this album. It's absolutely brilliant. It's got a bit of a Latino rhythm again to it. It's a very good track. Stay Alive. Bit rock and rolly because it's got Little Richard on that piano. It's very good. Then we get the last track, Down the Line. Again, one of them new catchy tunes. Great hook. The drumming drives it along. It's just a great track to end the album. Solid album from top to bottom. Put it on, let it go. Don't skip anything. Just listen to it and enjoy. That's my words on that album, and I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 8.2. Okay, then, coming in at number 3, we go to the second album, released in 1973, the second of the year, and it's just called Bachman Turner Overdrive 2. On here is Randy Bachman, Tim Bachman, Fred Turner, Robbie Bachman, and guest musician on piano is Norman Durkee. First track, Blow. Great track, classic Bachman Turner Overdrive. I love the guitar work on this. That interplay between the two brothers is fantastic. Welcome Home comes next. Good track. Tim and Randy again taking turns them doing their little twiddly bits, as I call it. It's got that Latino feel to it as well. Great track. Up next, Stone Gates. The drumming on here from Robbie is terrific. Really drives the song along, and the bass line from Fred is just spot on. Let It Ride. It's Tim and Randy's guitar work again is good. You've got that steady bass line. It's just great sounding. Give It Time. Got the cowbell from Robbie that drives it along. Great riffs as well. It's just a really solid track. Tramp. I got the twin guitar work in here. Great bass line. It's just another solid track. I Don't Have to Hide. Reminds me of Eagles' Witchy Woman, this does. The way it starts. Very Native American Indian sound on the drums. It's a great track. Then of course we get that classic Taking Care of Business. Probably my favourite track by Bachman Turner and Overdrive. I love this. It's just one of them great tracks. And a great way to end a great album. Love this album so much. Every track is just rocking. Top to bottom. Cranking it out. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 8.5. Top 2 was hard because I love these two albums as much as each other. So we've gone with this. I get to the stage where I don't, once I've got it, I'd leave it because I'd sit there and play around it until the moment I'm doing it. So coming in at number 2 from 1975, it's the 4th album, 4-Wheel Drive. And on here is Randy Backman, Blair Thornton, Fred Turner and Robbie Backman. First track, 4-Wheel Drive. Great opening riffs. What a track to open up with. The drums come rolling in. Fantastic. She's a Devil. More classic drumming from Robbie. He's had such a distinctive sound on his drum. It's a bit country to hard rock. Good track. Then we get Hey You, funky. It's one of the funky tracks I do like. It's that bass line from Fred that sort of gels it. Flat Broke Lover. Love the start of this. It's what a great bass line from Fred, and then again Robbie's drumming takes over. The cowbell's in there, so it's always going to be good. Then my favourite track, definitely top 10 track from them for me. She's Keeping Time. Again, it's just Robbie's drumming, absolutely brilliant. How he keeps that beat going is amazing. Then we get Quick Change Artist. I like the start again. Reminds me of Taking Care of Business. It's just a really good solid rock track. Lowland Fling. It's a jiggy starter thing. Great track. Great guitar work on this from Randy and Blair. Terrific stuff. And then we get the last track, Don't Let the Blues Get You Down. Classic Robbie Backman drumming, cowbells, great bass drum, driving riffs from Blair and Randy. Fantastic. I just love this album. Driving riffs, great drumming from Robbie on this album all the way through. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 8.8. So my number 1 album. I think this is quite a lot of people's favourite album. It's the 3rd album from 1974, and it's not Fragile. So we've got Randy Backman, Blair Thornton, C.F. Turner and Robbie Backman, and the guest musician on here is Frank Trowbridge on slide guitar on Blue Moaning. Opens up with the title track. It's probably got my favourite bass line from Fred. It's absolutely brilliant. Comes in straight away. You've got some great riffs between Blair and Randy. Strong classic song. Rock Is My Life. It's one of the gentler tracks, but it's really good, and it's that bass line from Fred that sort of drives it and holds it together. Roll Down the Highway is just another classic, isn't it? One of my favourite tracks. Again, definitely top 10 from the band. Driving riffs, gets your feet going. Then we get the big hit, the one that everybody knows by this band. It's You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet. Okay, I'm going with the flow here. I don't very often, but everyone likes this for a reason, because it's a great track. I just love that cowbell. The vocal is great on this, and it got big in the 80s and 90s when Harry Enfield, when Paul Whitehouse did their Smashy and Nicey, they always used to play this at the end of that little sketch they did, and the way they did it, they looked like a gear stick and put it Let's Rock, and this is the track they played. It's just a great track, isn't it? Then we get Freewheeling. This is an instrumental, and it just shows the skills of these guys. The drumming is awesome. You can tell there's a lot of fun being done when this one's being played, because they play right good on that, as they say. Sledgehammer, nothing to do with Peter Gabriel. This is my favourite Fred Turner vocal song. It's just full of dynamite, great vocal, and great sort of awesome rough vocal from Fred. It's a brilliant track. Blue Moaning's the next. It's a bluesy rocker. This has got some great slide guitar on this from Frank Trowbridge. I love the slide guitar. It's just a great track. Second Hand, lots of cowbell from Robbie, thumping drums, brilliant. Giving It All Away, one of these sort of sing-along tracks. I never normally like these, but the drumming on this is brilliant. Such a good drummer, very underrated as well, and he'll be sadly missed. I love this album. One of the great American rock albums in my books. Every track is just brilliant. You got heavy tracks, you got some gentle, and to be quite honest, it's one of the first albums I brought by this band, probably because it had got You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet on it. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9 out of 10. As I said at the beginning, that's just not a bad album. It doesn't happen very often. You have band changes, but what I like about this band, they really never altered from what they were. You know, you get people coming in and they bring some influence. It's just solid rock all the way through this catalogue. And sadly that the two, Tim and Robbie, are no longer with us. But they left us some great music. Okay then, that's all for this edition. I'll be back later with a retro ranking, and again it's a bit of a tribute to another Canadian. Canada's having a good day today on this channel, and we're going to look at my favourite songs by Gordon Lightfoot, which I'm looking forward to. So bye for now.